a fart.
That's the first thing we've got on this.
And that's just how it's going to be. What are you going to do, right? You know, you can just say, excuse me, and move on and hope there isn't a lingering scent.
I think in this day and age, I think everybody swears.
Yeah.
And, you know, the F-bomb, I think, is very similar to the way, I mean, over here we say bloody a lot. Do you say bloody over there?
No, my friend Georgie, who's from the UK, she says it a lot.
Yeah. Funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a British thing. Anyway, so I think it would be nice if we got on with this podcast.
Absolutely.
And I want to say welcome to my podcast, Rocking Elders. And today I've got my friend Monique, all the way from Hollywood. Monique, tell us a bit about yourself, darling.
Hello, I am coming up on 57 years of age. I am an actress. I have been an actress for 32 years. I've never been a movie star. I've never been a big actress. I'm just somebody who works in like small little films or, you know, little tiny parts in bigger films, but nothing huge. I do a lot of commercials. And I have a YouTube channel, and I live here in Hollywood with the love of my life, Howard, and our two cats.
Yes, and I mean, Monique has actually been on Sweet Talk before with me, and I'm probably just going to repeat all the things that I said on there about how she inspired me when I first started my Instagram, not my Instagram, YouTube channel. And one of the reasons Monique inspired me is because she's so down to earth. I like that. I like that in people.
To be down to earth, and down to earth is a commodity that we need a lot more of.
Absolutely. So we thought a good subject to chat about is being in this woke society. What does that mean to you, Monique?
You know, I like to think I never saw woke as an insult. When the word woke first came up, I'm like, great. You know, yeah, I like to think I'm woke. Maybe not fully awake. I will make mistakes because I am of an age, and I think that kids today are way more, they're much better communicators than we were back in our day. And so I think that with their wanting to get a certain specificity in things, sometimes we make mistakes as we get older. I'm not making any sense.
No, you're doing fine. One thing, I don't know whether I'm right in saying this, but while I was doing a bit of research in inverted commas about the woke society, I was thinking, is it just an online phenomenon? Is it just,
I think it is more online than IRL.
Absolutely. I agree, because I've always been a people watcher. Always. My kids just say I'm nosy, but I think I just like looking, studying people. And the thought did cross my mind when you realize that not everybody lives their life online.
Yeah.
Does the wokeness in society show itself in their lives as much as if you are on Twitter every day or you are on Facebook every day?
I don't think we see as much of the wokeness in the way people behave with one another. I do see some because I'm on set working, and I'm frequently working in an environment where it's an entirely young group of people.
Yeah.
I'm usually the oldest person on set. That's very common. And people, a lot of times there is a change in behaviors, but it's not as much as you see online. Like on Twitter, you will see somebody will make a statement and then somebody comes in and corrects it and makes
Yeah.
it a little more politically correct. And then somebody comes in and says, well, actually, and then corrects that. And then the next. And it's just like we're all so busy correcting each other so that everybody can be perfect and you know, nobody is offended. But in offending nobody, what if we've sort of lost the message?
I agree. I agree 100%. And it's almost like it just goes too much the other way. I mean, I'm the most non-political person ever. I've never been interested in politics, and my thoughts on them nowadays are best kept to myself. Um, but it's almost like with this woke society online, everything you say and everything you do, if you're on YouTube, is scrutinized
To
by
the nth degree.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're scrutinized by people that believe themselves to be woke, whatever that means.
Yeah. And it's there's a woke one-upmanship,
Yes.
which seems to dilute the original meaning.
Mhm. I
That's what
agree.
I
I
feel.
agree. And it's almost like, I mean, I'm trying to get away from Twitter because it's such a cesspool. I I every so often I try and cleanse my my timeline because the wokeness on there and these little voices coming out screaming abuse at somebody because they've said something
Yes.
that they find offensive. So because they find it offensive, they believe that whole faction in society must find it offensive.
Yeah.
And
It's Go ahead.
if you're in a position of having a YouTube channel, maybe, or in your case being an actress, or um being someone well known, it seems to me that these people that are screaming at these other people for saying things that aren't politically correct, so are therefore unwoke, these people expect that person to then be an ambassador for that thing in society.
Mhm.
And that's got to be wrong. That's where I think it's really going very, very wrong.
It people have taken it a little too far. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree.
and we are losing the message.
Yeah. One of the programs that I watch and I thoroughly enjoy is a dance program on it's on TV obviously over here, and it's called Strictly Come Dancing. For the past couple of series, you get celebrities that come on. I think it's very similar to a dance show you have called Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So the last couple of series, they've had disabled people come on, and they've done very well. Why wouldn't they? Just
Absolutely.
because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're disabled or not. And the last winner was a deaf girl who was born deaf, Monique. You wouldn't believe it. She was a phenomenal dancer, even though, God love her, she couldn't hear the music.
Hear the music.
Anyway, so this new series, we've got a girl, a Paralympian, who she suffers with dwarfism. I don't really know how to say it. She's uh vertically challenged, put it that way. And we've also got have we got somebody else who's on there? Oh God, my mind's gone blank now. Anyway, oh, and that's it. From the last series, we had our first gay couple dancing, two men.
Okay.
and the professional dancer is a gay man, and he danced with another gay man. They were amazing. Anyway, so now this series come around, people are now saying, oh, well, maybe Strictly Come Dancing's too woke for its own good. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Why would you think like that? Why can you not include every
absolutely.
single part of society in a dancing competition if they're able to
Yeah,
dance?
anybody who wants to compete should be able to compete. Um,
Exactly.
and that's, this is which is part of being woke. Everybody should be able to, and we shouldn't. There are a lot of people who they want to turn on their TV and only see the pretty people, the
Yeah.
perfect people. They want the fantasy. And those are the people who are saying, I don't want to see reality in my TV show. I only want my
Yeah.
TV show to be fantasy. Um, and it's the world is not fantasy. That is real life. We
I
need to
know.
include everybody in everything.
So
Anybody
does
who
it
wants to dance should be able to dance.
exactly. So what these people are saying, exactly as you've just said, what these people are saying is, why? Why are you bringing on, people with, and there was a girl once who had a problem with her arm. She only had half her arm. And, these people that are supposedly the arbiters of morality and how society should be run, these woke people are pointing out that they don't really want that.
Well,
They don't
I
really
don't think
want
they
to
can claim to
see.
be woke if they don't want that.
Yeah, they can't have it both ways.
Can't have it both ways.
And I love the way in society that things are moving in that direction. I love that. I don't say
Yeah.
that it's being woke because it's only being woke online. It's not being woke in real life. That's the way I look at it. In that it's like with racism, I'm a mixed race woman. I have suffered racism all throughout my life, but I don't look at another black creator or a black person to speak about what my life was like growing up in in Britain, because my story's a lot different to theirs.
Yeah.
And I think although it's becoming more, it is being spoken more about, and the same with being homosexual, that's being spoken a lot about. But that doesn't mean that it's a woke society we live in, because the vast majority of people, if you're going to have bigots, they're going to be bigots
Bigots
and
are bigots.
racists
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah. Woke is kind of a weird term because we all just need to be aware that we have looked at things one way in our past and we need to look at it a different way in our future.
Yeah,
We were not inclusive enough in the past, and we now see that we were not that, and we were making accessibility changes. My boyfriend was setting up something on his phone or whatever the other day. He's like, accessibility. What does that mean? It's like, you can hear just fine. You don't need that. He's like, oh, okay. No, that's good. Because he
mm,
just didn't even know what it meant when it was asking the question. And I love that we are making things so much more open to everybody and not just the able people.
yeah, I agree. And I think, because of technology, so many people have been given a voice. So many people can start YouTube channels and
Yes.
and talk about what they really feel strongly about.
I love that it's something anyone can do.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do too.
that's one of my favorite things about YouTube is like, if you love something and you are passionate about it, here you can talk about it as much as you want, and your people will find you.
Yeah, yeah. They will. And whereas, I mean, beforehand, before we even had the phones, I mean, sometimes I think to myself, how the hell did I manage not having a mobile phone back in the day? But we did, and we should count our blessings for it. But I don't think that it should be, I don't think we should be hurting other people uh, because we've got that technology. And I think there are a certain type of person, a certain type of organization that uses it to
Yes.
cancel people. That's
Yes.
where it sort of, I feel that it runs along with cancel culture. What do you feel about cancel culture?
Cancel culture is, you know, being in the public, having a YouTube channel, being in the public on any level, even this, you got a YouTube channel with 5 followers, whatever. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. By the way, my friends and I have started a thing when you lose your train of thought to just say, thank you. Because we all do it.
We do.
We all like start passionately down some road and like, no, what, where, what, I completely lost it.
I do it all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So dial me back. Let's see if we can figure out where I was going.
Cancel culture. We were talking about cancel
Cancel
culture.
culture. People are so quick to criticize without having the full picture.
Mm-hmm.
I stumbled across a website that, because every once in a while you'll look yourself up, and I call it ego surfing, and it's never a good idea to ego
Never
surf.
a
You
good
find things written about you that you just don't really want to know. But this I know. I've known it for many years. I still do it. So I found this one website where they love to. It's not just about me. It's about every YouTuber, and they bash them.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I'm lucky. They're pretty nice to me. Excuse me. They're pretty nice to me. They will just rip people to shreds on there. And I'll read it and I'll chuckle over it. And they get so much misinformation. Like at one point, they're all in this quest to find me in this red dress at this one film premiere, and they're going on and on and on about it. And it's like, the dress wasn't red. Y'all got the first part wrong. Y'all can't find that red dress because I was never in a red dress. But it's like you're all messed up with all your. So anytime you are in a public platform, anything you say is going to be taken out of context and dissected and looked at, and people will try to cancel you. And you end up having to be so very careful and meticulous about every word that comes out of your mouth, because God forbid you say something wrong and then you're canceled. Now, some people deserve to be canceled. Some people are flat out crazy and they're making crazy statements. There are people who said things, during the whole coronavirus pandemic, who were giving misinformation, and that's a different story. But people being canceled for tiny little things, big things, okay. You expose yourself in public, you deserve to be canceled. You expose yourself to children, you're a pedophile, you deserve to be canceled. Absolutely. You steal from people and hurt them, 100%. But misspeaking, sometimes people misspeak. Sometimes the brain is going faster than the tongue, and you say something and it doesn't even come out right. And one of the things that happens on set when I'm acting is I will be in a scene and the wrong words will come out of my mouth. And I will know that. I can see the bubble in the air with the misspoken words. And then the director says to me, "Oh, you said the wrong thing. You're supposed to say this." Yes, I know, but I couldn't make it disappear. I couldn't suck those words back in. So yes, I have feelings about this.
Oh my God. I remember, I'm just so grateful that when I did my stage work, I performed in a few plays. I'm just so grateful that I don't think mobile phones were around, and because God knows what people would say about me on there.
Yeah.
God knows. But it's like, how can you watch every single word that you say? It's I don't know. I do believe that there are some people that should be held accountable for giving misinformation. We had a few people over here at the time when the pandemic started, who were like, "Oh, don't listen to what everybody else is saying. You just get out there and do this and do that." You know, they're all just trying to scare, and they got cancelled. Definitely. But I think there's ways. Do people, or would people be so cancelled if it wasn't for the internet?
Oh, no.
No, they
Yeah, the
wouldn't, would they?
internet is like it's a great big huge game of telephone.
Mhm.
You know, and it's been like this forever. I mean,
Yeah,
since it started, people love to be anonymous behind their screens. Even if it's their own name, people love to say mean things to each other or
oh
mean things
god.
about each other and tear each other down because so many people have little lives and they feel like the only way to boost themselves is to tear down another.
I think that's a different kind of cancel culture. I feel that if there's such a thing is like abusing cancel count cancel culture, because I and I feel that the people that do that are actually just hateful, nasty
Yes.
individuals
They're
that
bullies and trolls, and that's just who they
yes,
are.
yes.
Yeah,
But when you look at cancel culture as a whole,
the whole societal aspect.
yes, as a
Yes.
whole societal aspect, it's much larger and much more damaging, I think. Um, and eventually it will leak into the real world. Um, Whereas I think, when you get these spats on YouTube or on Twitter, and somebody's, "Oh, we've cancelled them because they've, gone off YouTube, or they've gone off Twitter." Are you happy for that? Are you happy you've done that? That's what I think. Are you?
Did that make you feel better?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm like, I'm unapologetically me. Like you, Monique, and
Yes.
I know that for a fact. I know you are who you are, and I am who I am. If people want to try and cancel me, okay, you might make me go off Twitter. I doubt it very much.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna cancel me in my real life.
No.
And they don't seem to realise
They
that.
don't realize.
It's almost like they make their life the internet. So, and they assume that everybody else is living that kind of
Yeah.
life. They haven't got a real life. So by them bullying you offline or whatever, you've got no other life.
Yeah,
And
and they don't realize that we have full and interesting lives
oh,
off of
absolutely,
the internet.
absolutely.
Yes.
Um, so I do feel that getting cancelled is a natural progression within the woke society, when used, when implemented by the wrong people.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
I
I can
think,
see that that is, some people are too woke and the cancel culture can yes.
yeah, and I think, I mean, there's so many levels of it, and it can be very powerful, and especially when it involves, um, I mean, I'll say, for example, have you heard of Graham Norton?
Yes.
He's an Irish comedian over here. a gay guy. And apparently he had a conversation with somebody which was televised. So it was obviously some sort of formal interview. And in this interview, he stated basically that just because he was a gay man doesn't mean to say that he should be held accountable for how people think about the transgender situation. Just because he was gay doesn't mean to say that he was an ambassador for all trans people. Do you know what, Monique? He got totally cancelled on Twitter. I don't know what it's like in the real world. I've not read up about it, but he's come off Twitter now, and it's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. That is interesting. That's interesting. I have to read up on it.
Yes, yeah, you obviously weren't aware of it.
But that's interesting because, you know, I would imagine, I hate to put words in somebody's mouth. I would imagine he would sort of be saying, like, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I can speak for transgender people.
That's right.
That's a different life experience.
Yes.
We have different. I support transgender. I support all transgender rights, but I can't speak for them. That may be
Exactly.
what he was trying to say.
That
But
is.
because, you know, you just say things. Sometimes things come out a certain way and people take it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. And I agreed with him. Because that seems to happen an awful lot. It's almost like online communities, and I'm sure the transgender community didn't expect him to speak up for them, you know? And what he was saying was that these people, these woke people, need to go and speak to transgender people. They need to go and speak to parents of transgender kids.
Yes,
Don't come talking to this gay guy
to
in
him.
pink satin suit.
Yeah,
That's all he was saying.
yeah. I can't speak for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like if
And
somebody asked me, speak for this gay man. I cannot.
mm,
I cannot.
mm.
Not
But
gay, not a man.
don't you think that that shows an ignorance,
It
though?
does. It's too much. It's too
Yeah.
once again showing where the woke take things too far. There's
Yes.
there's there's there is no perfection. It's like there must like with this woke concept, they're striving for this sort of perfection of action and speech, and I think it's unobtainable.
No. Well, it'll get to the point where we won't be able to have any public speakers.
Because nothing you say will be perfect enough.
I know. And I mean, it's quite interesting to think, well, I wonder what's going to happen when our kids, like my grandkids, I've got like, 13-year-old granddaughter, and I'll go through all the ages, but, I've got grandkids. What's it going to be like for them if they go into a profession where they speak publicly? I mean, are they going to have to speak a completely different language?
Will improvisational speech be canceled? Must everything be reviewed by a board before it can go out publicly?
Mm,
Now, I mean, with Fox News, sometimes, yeah, that should be the case.
yeah, yeah.
But
It
does it start becoming censorship?
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like you just get into a situation where you're too frightened to say anything. I mean, I've done live radio. Have I done live TV? Yeah, I've done live TV. Um, I've, been on the stage. I've done lots of things where if I'd have said something inappropriate at the time, I might have got myself into trouble. But I'm not stupid enough to do that. I mean, it's I think you'd have to be a bit naive or a bit, dare I say, stupid to say something that was so contentious that you could be, um, cancelled. So what seems to have happened now is anyone gets cancelled. You can't say anything that's even slightly wrong.
And yet, going to devil's advocate, sometimes we see people in the public media who say horrible, horrible things and should be canceled, yet they don't get canceled because they are worth money to people and people can still make money on them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. And
And
that's
there are some people who say some really horrible things and ought to be canceled. And the fact that some brands stand by them.
mm. I remember back in the day, famous people lost massive um brand what's the word? Advertising money. They lost big, I can't think of the word, and lost an awful lot of money because they'd done something stupid in their private life. And yeah, you can understand that. But when it's something, they, as you've just indicated, the unfairness of it is something that will always continue to happen because there are some people that, for whatever reason, aren't held accountable, even in this, woke
Day and
society.
age. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the imbalance, I think, that is offensive more
Yes.
so than the actual woke society, I think. I asked my son, my youngest boy, who's 23, and I asked him, I've been asking my kids actually, tell me what you think about being
Yeah.
woke. Tell me about this and that. So I asked him, and he said almost word for word what you said, which was it's about being aware. And I said, oh, okay, I've got to remember that. I've got to remember that. I did remember that, but I can't remember what else he said. But
You
then
can
he
ask them
just,
again.
sorry.
You can ask them again.
I will next time I see him. But it's I just think it's really sad that in some ways society seems to be moving on and making life better for people, but in other ways it's very there seems to be some sort of feedback here. Let me just check this out.
Okay.
But in other ways it seems to be getting worse. That's what I was going to say. I don't know why my audio, let's just turn that down. Could you hear anything there,
I couldn't hear
Monique?
anything. No, I couldn't hear any
Oh,
feedback.
I can a
I heard
bit.
just that.
It's probably just me. I am
It's just
so
echoes in the head.
I'm so panicky about it. So, is there anything else you'd like to say about this subject? Has it affected you in any way? Have you
I am
heard?
aware all the time. Now, before, because being an actor doesn't always pay the bills, and I had, as I've talked about on my stream, a a day job, and for many years, my day job was selling blenders, and I would sell these high performance blenders up on a stage in Costco on a microphone, talking and selling the blenders for 11 hours a day.
Oh dear.
And you have to do a lot of self-editing when you are on microphone at Costco, because if you offend anybody throughout the store who hears you, they will go to management and complain. And did. I got myself in trouble many times.
I think I
So,
would.
but I am very grateful for that when I do my streams. but I also hate that I have to do that. I hate that I can't say all of the things I would like to say because some people might be offended.
Mm.
And I'm always just like a little editing, and I'd love to have the ability to be a little bit more myself. You know,
Yeah.
I'm very cautious about swearing. As we talked about, dropping the occasional F-bomb. Like,
Yeah. That doesn't offend me. It doesn't
but
offend me at all.
I've had so many people criticize my makeup videos and stuff like that I've done on YouTube in the comments. So I'm very, very cautious about it. But recently I did one video where I just spent the entire one, and it felt so good to get that
I
out.
remember that
Like,
one.
every F-bomb I have held back for years, I let them all out. And of course, people are in their comments. In fact, people on that one website where they love to like trash people are like, "What is she so angry about?" It's not anger, it's freedom. It's like, I'm just gonna do one where I say whatever I feel like and I don't edit myself.
I know. I think I remember that one. And you even entitled it something
Yes.
like that. Who gives a F?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought, good for you. See, the
Behold the
thing is,
fields in which I grow my F's and see that it is barren.
exactly. And like, I have no more F's to give.
Yeah.
And, you
But
know,
apparently we do, because we are not letting them fly right now. So we do still have F's to give. We still care about those two people out there who the F word might offend. So we hold it back for those two people. And that is us editing ourselves, censoring ourselves, restraining ourselves because we might offend a couple of people. And it's funny because those are probably the two people who are very anti-woke.
exactly.
Anybody
I
who would be upset over an F-bomb is probably the anti-woke person.
I can't imagine anyone being upset by the F-bomb nowadays. I really can't. I mean, we're not a sweary family. Does it mean that my kids never? I'm sure they do swear. I'm sure they swear when they're with each other, but they don't swear around me. We've just never been, a sweary family. When I'm out with my friends, I drop the odd F-bomb, you know,
Yeah, but you don't
but
do it in church.
pardon?
You don't do it in church.
I try not to do it in church. Can you imagine? When I first started doing live streams and whenever I've done live work, my kids are like, "Oh, mum, please be careful what you say. Are you sure you're gonna be all right?" Because I'm not the most politically correct person. I'm of a certain age now where we used to say things and get away with them. And my kids have heard me speaking, not swearing, but speaking derogatorily about certain things. And it's just the way I was back in the day. But I like to think that I'm woke enough to know that a lot more people do get offended nowadays.
Well, I do think that it's important for us. We are aging and we are used to a certain way, but to also recognize that some phrases that we have said throughout our lives may have a basis in something racist, and
Yeah.
moving forward to not say that. You know,
Yes.
I grew up with my grandfather always saying, chop, chop, let's go, chop, chop. And so I say it. And when I say it, I think of my grandfather. But now I know that it has racial connotations.
See,
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, and so I am trying to not say it because I can see where, yes, that used to have a different meaning and it is somehow offensive. And I don't desire to offend people. So I'm
No.
trying to not have that phrase come out of my mouth. And the only way to do that is to train myself not to do it at home when
Yeah.
nobody's around. So
Yeah.
there are certain aspects of wokeism that I think are beneficial and that I think we can still learn. You
Mm.
know, people who, family members who are transgender, it's very hard to always remember to get the names right, but we try. We
Mm.
try, and the family members recognize it. Um, and
It's difficult. It's like with so many things, when you've actually been brought up with it, it is difficult, in say 20, 30 years on, to be told that actually you shouldn't really be saying that because
yeah,
that's what this means. And, in today's society, it means this. So it is a learning curve. And I can't imagine nobody that I know would purposely upset somebody
yeah,
by once they were told that that was offensive.
yes. I
And,
don't know anybody who would purposely do it.
no, I don't know. In my personal life, I don't know any transgender people. I know one of my daughters had a friend who was transgender, and if we were ever talking about that person, I would learn quite a
Yes,
lot
you learn.
about,
Yeah,
and I'd think, "Okay," and also if I'm unsure about something, I've got, a few gay friends and male, gays, and if I'm ever uncertain about something, I will always ask them.
yeah,
I'd rather ask them, "Listen, I'm not sure about whether I should say this or say that or do," and, they will tell you,
yeah. It's
because
nobody minds when you ask a sincere, heartfelt question
yeah,
to
yeah,
do better.
yeah.
I would like
Oh,
to
I do.
do better. I wanna do right by you because I value who you are.
Yeah,
Help me.
exactly. I do know a transgender person. It's, another YouTuber, and, male to female, and she's absolutely inspirational.
Yeah,
And I tell her that. I don't talk to her, that often, but when I do, um, and I think it was when I was speaking to her friend once, I said, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you this. Um, what, pronoun does she prefer?" Because I get lost in all these different pronouns,
and
you
it's good to
know?
ask. Yeah,
So I asked, I was told, and I've never made a mistake with
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's how we learn. So with the cancel culture, to suddenly chop somebody off or cut somebody off because they've done something, similar in that way, I think is very sad. It's a very sad sort of indictment on society, and I think it's almost sort of runs along the lines of living in a disposable society, and I don't think that's very good. I think that's a real shame.
yeah. Well, the cancel culture, we got cancel culture's what it is, but it needs to cancel the right people. When people make innocent mistakes and they are trying to learn, accept that. Allow people to learn,
Absolutely, and I
especially
hope
for those of us who have spent, 50 years of our life thinking one thing and now we got to think a different way. It's a transition. For
it
somebody
is.
who's learned to think a certain way from birth, they have a different view of it. And you know, us older folks, we're learning.
Yeah, we
So
are learning.
we have to stay open to learning. We can't
Yeah.
allow ourselves to close off and not be open to learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I very much believe in that. I mean, one of my sayings is, because sometimes I'll put up because I'm not saying well, yeah, I do support Black Lives Matter, but not the atrocities. I don't support violence in the name of Black Lives Matter, but I support the whole thing of Black lives mattering and Black people being able to finally speak and be heard.
100%.
That's what I believe in. But then I've had people say to me, "Oh well, you put Black Lives Matter in your bio. That means you support violence. That means you support this, that." I mean,
No, it
no,
doesn't.
it
No.
doesn't.
It's like never support violence in anything.
No, there's no need. And that's where it comes down to
Except for maybe a cockroach.
awareness.
You're allowed to
And
be violent against a cockroach.
that's or a spider. I don't like spiders.
The spiders, I'm pretty good with a spider. I will pick it up and with under a piece of glass and a piece of paper and move it outside. But a cockroach, you got to throw a book at.
Oh.
You just got to do it. It's got to be a thick book.
We don't really get those over here. I think maybe in restaurants, maybe,
It's a
but
little
we
chilly.
don't get that. Do they
Yeah.
like
I
hot
think they like
weather?
warmer weather.
Yeah, they won't be over here then.
No, that's not you.
So I think our final words are that wokeness can be a good thing, but I think it's more of a learning curve. I
Yeah.
think it's and being open to learning. Is that what
Open
you
to a changing world.
Yes. And I don't see anything wrong in that. I like to feel that I'm always I hope this sounds all right on here. I keep hearing it go funny, but never mind. We're nearly there. I like to think that eh, in this woke who who came up with that word? Who came up with the word woke?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think it should be more about educating yourself and moving with the times to, and just don't go out of your way to insult people. If you're told by somebody that that's offensive, then don't do it.
Be nice,
But
mother.
I don't like the cancel culture.
No,
Don't
it's
like that.
canceling people for minor indiscretions, for saying things is ridiculous. Canceling people who say things, you know, hate speech, misinformation, that's a different thing.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to tie this up now. It's been absolutely fabulous just chatting with you, Monique. I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
And you. And I just want to remind or tell everybody that Monique actually goes live every Monday evening. It's just a general, relaxed ambience. You'll love it. What time is it, Monique?
It's at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to say thank you and look after yourself out
And I'll
there.
say, love you bunches.
Love you bunches too. Bye bye for now.